been a month since the Russian invasion, and 10 million Ukrainians are now refugees, having fled to neighbouring countries. This is according to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. Ukrainian Ambassador to South Africa, that's Ambassador Liubov Abravitova, joins us now to discuss the very latest developments. Ambassador, thank you for your time and good morning to you. And that's the question, what are the latest developments coming out of Ukraine, of course, at this point?
First of all, thank you very much for this opportunity to talk to you. You know that today we mark a very sad date. It's exactly 1 month since full-scale war of Russia started in Ukraine. And all the world is watching very closely the developments and is praying and working to get peace back into Ukrainian land. Yes, the numbers of those who are trying or who already fled from Ukraine are extremely high. It's more than 3.5 million people. The major cities are severely affected by missile attacks. In some of the cities, such as Mariupol, we have hundreds people that are staying without any food or water, without any humanitarian corridors which would allow us to deliver the basic needs to these areas or to be able us to evacuate these people from this area. So the war is on, and we are still trying to use all the diplomatic forums and international organizations to make Russia withdraw its troops and make a ceasefire.
Yeah. In terms of the number of casualties and fatalities, where does that number stand, Ambassador, according to the information at your disposal?
We all understand that there is an official data which is provided by UNHCR, for example, and the data that we will know later when the war is finished, because in some areas we don't have access to these cities or to these regions and districts. We know that the Russian losses officially went above 15,000 military people. Ukrainians are more than 2,000 civilians, including 200 children.
Right. We know that humanitarian efforts... Yes, Ambassador, continue with your point.
Yes, I'm saying that the number of injured people obviously is much, much higher.
Right. I mean, with that being said, we know that there have been humanitarian efforts, various organizations globally trying to assist with food, with, medicine, just with efforts to evacuate Ukrainians out of, the city or even the country to neighboring countries. How have those been, particularly in a raging conflict and war where, obviously, buildings, we have seen even through visuals, constantly, bombed down. How would you say those efforts are going?
Well, the efforts are really huge, and we are grateful to all the partners that are providing humanitarian assistance. In the first 2 weeks of a war, a full-scale war, we received a lot of humanitarian aid, both in food, in medications, and of course that assistance that the bordering countries in Europe are providing us is immense. We also would want to acknowledge the work of South African non-governmental organizations that are providing us with humanitarian aid. First of all, of course, this is the Aspen Pharmacare, who just recently donated life-saving medicines for 62,000 surgeries in Ukraine. And the organization, the Gift of the Givers, we're also very grateful for them. I think that already the assistance they directly provided in Ukraine for the humanitarian needs, it's around 2 million rands.
Yeah, and you just mentioned earlier on about, the number of people that you continue to assist to evacuate, reiterating obviously key statement there that around 100,000 people remain under bombardment, though, even with those efforts still going on. Ambassador, how are those negotiations therefore going with Russia for them to withdraw their troops out of Mariupol and just essentially out of the country?
We already had 4 rounds of negotiations held starting from 28th of February with established working groups on both sides from Ukraine and Russia. The talks are held daily by video links. Now, meantime, on the 10th of March, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, Mr. Kuleba, and his counterpart Lavrov met in Antalya. We didn't see a lot of progress, and unfortunately, the ceasefire has been not achieved. And even during the negotiations, the shellings and killing of civilians being continued. We already made it very clear, and my president on the 20th of March declared that we will no allow and no ultimatums will accept it for Ukraine, including on the territorial integrity and sovereignty. We consider that the personal meeting between the 2 presidents of Ukraine and Russia will be very critical for restoration of peace.
Right.
So let's see how far that goes. We are ready, and obviously we are the first in the line who want this war to stop and that Russia withdraw their troops from our territory. So the ball is on their side. The bombs are on our side.
I'll need to let you go in a few seconds. Before I do, Ambassador, my last question to you. We know that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is expected to attend a NATO summit via video link. What will be on the agenda? Can you fill us in on what's expected from the president?
Well, obviously, today is very important and crucial day for Ukraine. We will see this summit happening. Our president will be joining, and of course he will be calling for the common efforts of all the nations to make Russia withdraw its troops. And when we achieve a ceasefire, we will be able to negotiate on further issues. That's what is expecting.
All right, Ambassador, we appreciate your time this morning. Ukrainian Ambassador to South Africa, Liubov Abravitova, thank you so much for speaking to us this morning.